Right, well, I am here with a brand new series. I have no idea how many videos it's going to be or how long it's going to take, but it will be ongoing for a while. Yeah, so there you go. Right, something very new for you newbies, something very familiar for you oldies, not old people, old subscribers, people who've been with us for a while, and something extremely fun for me and very challenging at the same time, because I have kind of like, we had a bit of a laugh and a joke about this the other day, talking and what have you. The student has now become the teacher. Yeah, so I've been asked to show how to do this, metal hand stamping, by a few people actually. This has been a long time coming, but the lovely Tracie Fox, hi Tracie, yeah, from over at LoveJunk journals, recently put in one of her videos that she was looking to get some, well, what did she say? Put it like some of them metal stamps that you hit with a hammer. So I immediately stopped watching a video, put it on pause, went straight over to her Facebook inbox. I'm like, don't buy it! I've got some you can have. Because I've got loads. These are stuff made up. By metal stamps, we mean these, but I'll get to them in a minute. But yeah, so, and then we got chatting and I recommended a few things for her and stuff like that, places to go, places not to go, things to buy, things not to buy, that sort of thing. And then I'm like, do you know what, it's just going to be so much easier if I turn it into a series of videos, kind of like explanations and a few tutorials and stuff like that. Now I will just state for the record, I am not by any means least a professional at this. I am what I would call a lazy stamper. If there's a way around it, I will do it. If there's a cheap method, I will do it. I do this for fun. I do them for sale. I have sold many of these. I do custom orders. These are just play ones, but I do custom orders mainly because this is a very, very, very expensive hobby to have. Unlike paper, when you get it wrong, you can just glue over it or, you know, throw it away in the recycling. Well, yeah, fair dues, this metal, you can recycle this. But this costs 3 times more than what a piece of paper would. So one tiny, and I mean tiny, one tiny little mistake in doing this, your whole thing is ruined. You know, you can't just gloss over it or collage over it. It's gone. It's dead. Throw it in the bucket. There's a word that we use that rhymes with that. It's the bucket. And mine is overflowing. It has been for a long, long time. I have more stuff in that bucket than I have that I've made up and sold. And like I said, I can't show you them because they're all kind of personal stuff. But yeah, you just can't do anything with them. Right, there's nothing personal that you can see there. That's only a small proportion of my bucket. Yeah, so, and that's over a few years. Actually, that's probably over a few months, let alone a few years. But anyway, yeah, so these are all the sort of things that you guys will see around in craft groups and online and places like that. Tim Holtz does things like this. This is aimed at journalists as well as stampers. You guys will have seen people using little tags like that with words on, like dream and I can't remember now, journal and create, whatever. Well, doing your own, if you can hand stamp, you can make your own. Trust me, it's cheaper to buy the Tim Holtz ones. They are not hand stamped. A lot of people put them up as hand stamped charms and they're not. They are machine made. They're probably engraved. This is hand stamping. Not one bit of hand stamping is perfect for many, many, many reasons. But yeah, so this is what you see when you see things and you look and what have you. These are the sorts of things you will look at and see and think, oh wow, that is so cool. I wish I could do that. Well, I am now going to show you just the absolute basics, and you probably don't even need all this to begin with, but these are my recommendations. These are all the things I've gone away and I've looked and I've spent near enough a week on this, thinking, if I was a beginner now, what tools do I use already that as a beginner I should have? Like, what do I use that I cannot live without now that I would recommend to a newbie? My recommendations will be a lot different to everybody else's, but these are definitely the sorts of things I recommend to you guys. So, and trust me, it's not cheap. Even if you can buy things in de-stashes in groups, that will lower your costs, but it is still not cheap. All this prettiness starts with this. Okay, so, like I said, these are basic supplies. Oh my gosh. Right, so to start with, the first thing you need, above anything else, is this. A desk, something strong and sturdy to use as a stamping desk. Now, I have used my PC desk. I have used a piece of wood about that thick. I think it was, I want to say plywood, but I'm not sure because I can never remember. But a piece of wood about that thick that was laid across the top of some plastic drawers, but secured at either end with a batten. Actually, you can see that. I'm over here today. You can actually see that desk and me stamping on that desk in some video, at least one video. I'll pop the link to that down below in the playlist, because I actually do already have a couple of videos on the channel of me stamping. I have a couple of stamp with me videos. But yeah, the latest one, the trainer tags one that I did, I was stamping on my PC desk down here in the studio before I swapped rooms properly with Taylor. But yeah, you need something strong that's gonna take impact, because we're gonna use a hammer to hit metal. It's gonna make an impact on whatever you're hitting. Yes, so at the moment, the way this room's set out, I am stamping on, I am using a big, hang on, I'll show you. Sorry guys, I might seasick a little bit seasick a minute. I am using a unit, just a bog standard household cabinet unit, but it is very thick, sturdy, chunky wood, and it is supported in several places underneath there as well. So it is more than adequate for taking the impact. And, sorry, before I put you back in, this sat on top of it is a piece of kitchen worktop, a scrap piece of kitchen worktop. So that just then adds extra strength and stability. Here we go. Okay, yeah, oh goody, I managed to get you in the right way up. And then I just cut you off. Clever. But yes, so like I said, the first thing that you need before anything else is a surface that's strong and sturdy enough. And then preferably something on top of that that's stronger to protect it. But anyway, like I said, absolute basics. You can use a PC desk, no problem, but you need something on top of it. Right, then you need, the most important thing you need after that is this, or that. These are metal stamping blocks. Some people use sandbags, but I just went for these. I started off with this, which is one that I got on eBay, and it comes in its own little hard, well, saying little, it's little, but it's very tough, hard plastic surround, which is good because that takes impact and it just sits inside it. You need this. Without this, you will not get a proper indentation because it will bounce. These, we'll get to in a minute, are called blanks. You put them on, you put your metal stamp on that, you hit your metal stamp, that hits that, and this then takes the impact. Without this, it will bounce. And believe me, I am the world's best at getting what they call a bounce back double imprint. I probably wouldn't even be able to do it to show you, but I've probably got many examples I can dig out somewhere of a bounce back. You still get it with these, but without these you will definitely get one. Also, you will damage your surface that you're working on. I can't for the life of me remember now, because it's been a long time, in about 5 years, that I bought how much this was when I bought it, but it wasn't much. I think it was probably maximum about 20 quid. Like I said, I got it on eBay. I can tell you that it cost £2.80 for postage. I don't think I paid that. I think the postage was included in it. But yeah, oh yeah, I've done it that way because the sender's address is on the underside, so I've done it the opposite way. But you need a stamping block. Then, you don't need this, but I use this. This was an old yoga mat, and it was massive. As you can tell, yoga mats are always big. I cut it up into pieces to put underneath my stamping block to, again, take some of the impact, and it also quietens it down when you stamp it. Well, we'll actually leave that there for a minute. Then you need a hammer. This is a proper stamping hammer. However, when I first started, I used a normal household hammer. Probably not recommended, but it did the trick. I was only playing, I was learning. Do not go into this without your eyes open. Do not go buy everything and think, yeah, I can just hit it a few times and knock out something like that. Guys, that's not perfect. I do not stamp perfect, just the same as I do not sew perfect with my sewing machine, because it's just a pain in the backside for me. I can't do it. So I like my messy stitching, where junk journalers who can sew perfectly, like Gayle and many others, deliberately do messy stitching. My messy stitching is my normal stitching. So I love how professionals who try, like professional sewers, are trying to imitate what's my normal. Same for stamping. This is not perfect, but this is my normal stamping. It's wonky, it's all over the place, it's not lined up properly, but I love it. And thankfully, many others do too. Some people won't sell them when they're like this, but I do, because my customers tend to like it. Hey, buddy. You're alright.
I'm not here.
Taylor's come down for a drink. But yeah, like I said, I like it like that. Some of them I will throw away and some of them I won't sell because they are just horrendous. But like I said, do not think for 1 minute that you will be able to just pick up a hammer, bash it, and it'll look perfect first time.
That's how I went with mine.
Yeah, prove me wrong, buddy. You were just a stroke of luck.
Thanks for the encouragement. Anyways, people.
All right, we'll rephrase that. Don't expect it to be perfect every time, first time. Little monkey. Anyway, see, this is why I don't film when people are around. But yes, so it takes a lot of practice. That's why it is an expensive hobby. I am not trying to discourage anybody from doing it, but I am also not really encouraging people, because it does take a lot of money, time, and patience, and tears, and blood, and sweat. But yes, so, and that little monster's just put me off my train of thought. Hammers, that's it. Sorry. Yes, I started out with the normal household hammer. I can't show you where it is, right? I can't show it you right now because I have no idea where it is. I suspect it's in a box upstairs. A lot of my metal working stuff, my stamping stuff, is still packed up in boxes upstairs in the wardrobe. But after using a household hammer for quite some time, Third Man brought me home a £4 lump hammer, thinking you'd be a bit safer with that, love. Yeah, until I whacked myself on the thumb with it a few times, and this rubber mallet, yeah, is lethal. This come from Wilkinson's. I think it cost me about £2, but it's awesome. But it's lethal when you whack your finger with it. As are any hammers really, but yeah. Right, so we've covered the stamp, we've covered the basic desk side of things, we've covered the stamping block. You need stamping block, or bench blocks as they're sometimes known as. You need them. They will protect your surface, they also help take the impact. Then, if you want to stamp, you need some stamps. And these are metal stamps, not stamps like you put ink on and play with. You know, these are proper and very weighty, some of them, proper metal stamps. I have a star, a heart and an angel. And these have come from a company called, oh my gosh, I believe it's Beadsmith. Watch me be wrong. I'm pretty sure they are from Beadsmith. I'll tell you. Yes, they are. They are from Beadsmith. I can tell. Right. Just double checking. And a lot of stamps, these ones have arrows on them to show you that when you're using them, you stand them up that way, that side that way, so that you get the impression at the right angle. Some of them don't, some of them have the pictures on, but we'll get to that later, right? These are what you call design stamps. Just like us, rubber stamping, these are design stamps. Picture stamps, but if you're searching for them, they are called design stamps. And believe me, that is a rabbit hole that is very easy to fall down and carry on going, because there are thousands of different designs. So you need your desk, stamping block, something underneath your stamping block to cushion the impact between your desk and the stamping block. Also, it dulls down some of the noise. Then you need stamps. So you've got design stamps, you don't necessarily need them, but then you've got font stamps. These are these, which everybody knows what a font is, or everybody who's ever used Microsoft Office or Word or anything like that, you know what a font is. And they are that, they are what they're called. This font is called Bridget. Then you have uppercase, lowercase and numbers. You can get them in sets, you can buy them singularly. Can't say that word. Separately. But yes. Certain websites, you can buy a starter kit, which I did. My starter kit consisted of this font set. So I started with Bridget, I started with a few others I got from a D-stash, but my proper first setup, like official brand new bought kit, was this. And it was the Bridget font set. I got this stamping block, which is bigger than this one, considerably, which was awesome. I can't remember the measurements, and I'm not messing about with my ruler. But I got this stamping block. Again, I cut my yoga mat up, a bit more of it, to sit this on. Very thick and sturdy, chunky. So I got those, and I got this stamping hammer. This is a £2 in weight, not £2 in cash. The £2 weight hammer. It's quite heavy, top heavy, which most hammers are anyway, but I struggled with this. It did me for a long time, but I spent more time using my household hammer and the £4 lump hammer than I did this. But what I do love about this is called a ball peen hammer, because this side of the hammer is what they call the ball peen, and this is amazing for texturing. This is texturing. A bit tricky with the camera because it doesn't like metallic, but that is texturing. I'll get to this some other time, but you will always have an indentation on the back of whatever you stamp on, but we'll get to that in another video. That's called metal displacement. We'll get to that later, a lot later. But this is texturing. I love texturing. It's my favourite thing to do. And oh boy, is it good for stress relief. But yes, so I got those. I am suspecting I got a few other things, but it's been that long I cannot remember. And then, but these, like I said, you need your desk, you need your stamping block, something to cushion, you need your stamp sets, and then you need what we refer to in the stamping community as blanks, which are these. Your shapes that you want to stamp on. And there are hundreds, if not thousands, of different shapes. Different sizes, different thicknesses. The most common one that people go for are the dog tags. You can buy them in all sizes and different shapes. You can buy them with shapes cut out of them. Yeah. So you get some blanks. I'm not sure if I got blanks with the set. I don't think I did. But anyway, you can still get them. And I will post links to some very, very, very reputable sites below where you can get all this stuff from. The main one that I use more than anything and above anybody else is Caley from Little Freckle here in the UK. So she will be the top link that I post, but there are many others that you can buy these from. These shapes. Some of them you can't actually, because some of them are from suppliers that have discontinued them, but like I said, blanks you can buy in all shapes and sizes and thicknesses from many different people, but I highly recommend you check out Caley over at Little Freckle. She's my go-to supplier for all this sort of stuff. She does some beads as well. I got my crackle beads from Caley. I love crackle beads. Anywho, back to the point. But yes, so then obviously, like I said, you need blanks, because without these, you've nothing to stamp on. So these are aluminium. Now that is another rabbit hole that you don't want to fall down. When you are starting out as a newbie, do not buy from eBay or anywhere like that. Buy from the reputable suppliers I will list below and buy aluminium. Do not buy stainless steel. Do not buy copper, do not buy brass, do not buy whatever else the others are. Buy aluminium or pewter. I didn't get any of that out. I'm not even sure where it is. Let me find it for you guys. I'm not sure where I've hid it. Oh my gosh. I'll get to these drawers in another video because they're never ending. Where did I put them? Just looked in there. Here. They were in front of me all along. Yeah, pewter. You can get pewter in beautiful shapes. These would be gorgeous for junk journals. Beautiful shapes. I absolutely love pewter. It is a very soft metal, and stamping on pewter is like putting a hot knife through butter. It is amazing to stamp on. But many people don't like pewter. Now this is where us junk journalers will be like, oh my gosh, I want it, I need it, I love it. Because pewter tarnishes, and when it tarnishes it looks awesome. These ones I love because they've already got a border around them. But like I said, when pewter tarnishes, just like that, it ages. Now you can get it nice and sparkly and shiny, but why? But yes, so when you're starting out, aluminium or pewter, but be warned, pewter is more expensive than aluminium. Although these days it might not be. Quite a lot of suppliers, well, I say stampers, a lot of the suppliers are actually stampers as well. But a lot of them have actually started moving over to pewter as well. And pewter is a whole other ball game, but you can cast it yourself if you know how. You can make up a mould and do your own castings, but I'd love to be able to do that one day. I really, really would. But yes, so there you go. Different shapes. But it is such, it doesn't look it, but it is such a soft metal to stamp on. You only really need to tap to get an impression. Whereas some of the others you've got to bang. But yeah, I absolutely love pewter. Now the pewter ones are all mine. This is what I used to do every time I made a sale. I used to use some of that money to buy myself some pewter as a present for me. I love pewter and I've only ever used it for me. But yeah, so like I said, do not go down the stainless steel or other metals route. Stick to aluminium. It's a whole minefield, guys, because some stamps are graded for stainless steel and other metals, but a lot of them aren't. These are basic ones, these aren't. These ones in these cases are. I can use these ones on stainless steel, but I don't like using stainless steel anyway. I prefer aluminium. Aluminium is a very low allergen metal, so anybody with metal allergies tends to be okay with aluminium. Unless they have a specific aluminium allergy, they're fine. You can, you know, 90% of people, a good 90% of people can use aluminium if they have other metal allergies. Oh my gosh, I can't talk. Like I said, it is not 100% allergen free, but it is a good proportion more than the others. So that's why we use it. So them are your blanks. Oh my gosh, I'm exhausted. Right, sorry guys, I needed to take a breather. I hope you're following along okay. Right, so we've covered the basic desk. We've covered the stamping blocks. What else did I say they were called? Stamping blocks and... I can't remember. There you go, see. Anyway, but yeah, so stamping blocks, desk block or something, or what did I say it were? I can't remember now. We've covered your stamps and then we've covered your blanks. Right. I'm not going to cover the actual stamping in this video. We'll do that later. Now, so them are your absolute basics, and I'll move these now. Because then we come into a rather large minefield. Maybe. Oh. Right. Move over. Okay. So, hammers. This you cannot stamp with. Do not try to stamp with this. You will just ruin the hammer. This you need for when you've been texturing, if you want texture. Also, when you are stamping the underside of your stamps, like I said, due to metal displacement, which we'll cover in another video, will leave imprints, and the edges of them are also quite rough sometimes, and do, depending on the thickness of what you're stamping on and the shape of it, sometimes it curls up, so you need to flip it over and then with the rubber mallet stamp it on, bash it on the other side to flatten it back out again to keep its shape. So these are very inexpensive. Like I said, I think this cost me £2, a quid or £2 from Wilkinson's. This one's branded a camping mallet because obviously most people use them for banging the pegs in when they're camping. But a rubber mallet, same thing. This is my preferred hammer. I will find my listing because I'm sure it's still there, and I will post that below. This is my preferred hammer over any of them. And it's a texturing hammer, but it's awesome because it's got removable heads. So this side I've got a texturing plate on and that side is plain, so I actually use this side to stamp, and I love this hammer. It comes with all these heads that have different textures on them, and it's very easy to change. All you do is you just unscrew this side of it, well, whichever side of it you want. Take that out, put a new one in, and screw it back on. It is so easy to change. And then you've got a new texture pattern on there, still with the old one. You could change that out as well if you wanted to do a couple of different designs. But you can buy these heads separate as well, so, you know. And that, just like you guys in this journaling community, just like when you're using your Sizzix, that is normal. That is perfectly normal, all this. So don't worry about it. Don't suddenly hit something and then go, oh my gosh, it's done that. Is that normal? Yes, yes it is. It's also fairly normal to have one side more dinted than the others, because you will find that you tend to hit with one side of the hammer more than you do the other side. That's normal too. It's personal preference, and you don't necessarily even know you're doing it. It's also why I tend to bash the side of my fingers quite a lot, because I tend to stamp. Obviously you have to hold your stamps, and I tend to stamp. You're supposed to try and get it slap bang in the middle, but you won't. You will miss, and when you miss, you hit your fingers. These parts, I haven't done it for years, so they're not as bad now, but these parts of my fingers, this finger especially, used to have like really hard skin on it, because like chefs and engineers and stuff like people like that, they get used to it. I developed a hard skin because I've become immune to bashing myself with them. It hurts though. But yes, so this is my preferred hammer of choice, but there are numerous different hammers that you can buy of weights and sizes and that sort of thing. There is one that we all refer to in the stamping community as Thor, and it's a Fritz, not Frets, is it Frets, not Fritz, Frets, F-R-E-T-Z I think it is, a Frets hammer, and it's a £4 hammer. It's square. From what I can remember, it's square, and people absolutely love it, and we all, yeah, it is square, and we all refer to it as Thor's hammer. We actually all nicknamed it Thor. But yeah, it is an awesome hammer, but like I said, I was going to get one, and then Faberman's like, no, you're not spending all that money on one. I don't know what it is now, but back then it was like 80-something pound, and then postage. He's like, nope, you're not spending that money on one. When I've got one down unit, you can have that will do perfectly just as good a job. And he come back with this £4 lump hammer. I'm like, oh my god. But yeah, it's amazing. Now, you only really need that kind of a hammer for these bigger, more chunkier, thicker stamps that need a good wallop. But we'll get to that later. The other things that you need if you're going to stamp is this. Ignore them for a second. You need these. Masking tape. 90% of junk journalers will have these. If not, you can buy them in shops, you know, pound shop, B&M, Aldi probably, yeah, Aldi sell it. Asda's definitely sell it. Most places will sell masking tape, painter's tape, whatever. Get some. It is very useful and recommended to use when stamping to hold your blank in place. You know, you can rip it there, you can tear it down the side, and you basically tape your blank to your stamping block, which holds it in place, so then you can stamp without it scooting off across. Sorry, out of frame. So you can hold your stamp and stamp without it shooting across your stamping block, which it will. Bench block, that's the other word I was thinking of, sorry guys. Which, like I said, it will eventually. I usually use blue masking tape, I'm not sure where, or Taylor used it the other day. But yeah, I have a massive roll of blue masking tape that I nicked off Faberman. But other than that, you need, like I said, masking tape or electrical tape. I've used electrical tape before, not duct tape. Wouldn't recommend using duct tape, it's too sticky. Electrical tape is good, but masking tape's better. But then you need these. These are important. For why, I will show you actually. You need anything. Cotton wool. Well, actually cotton wool's not a good idea because it frays and it gets stuck. So cosmetics pads, cotton wool pads, these square, rectangular cosmetics pads, nail varnish, or if you so desire, Sharpie markers, or nail art pens, which I've used one and I was not impressed. I obviously used the green one and I really wasn't impressed, so I went back to using nail varnish. But Sharpie markers work great, but I've always found nail varnish works so much better. And this is why, if you do stamping and you want to what we call ink the words, you need something that's going to stay put. Enamel paint apparently works just as good as well. But yes, this has all been inked with nail varnish. And I will show you. What have I done with it? There it is. And I will show you how to do it. This is one I found in my box that I haven't inked. I've no idea why. Probably because I'm waiting to put it in the tumbler. Get to that in a minute. There you go. It's a jigsaw puzzle that says, "You're my missing piece," with a heart, quarter of a heart and a little dinky one inside. So, I'm back. Sorry guys, the door, as you probably heard. Right, so like I said, I'm going to show you now how to do this. You don't necessarily need to use your stamping block to do this. I used to just have a piece of paper. So take your nail varnish. I'm going to see if I can zoom you in for this a little bit without, sorry guys for the fingers, but without knocking the camera off. I've had to reposition the camera, and by doing so, the cradle that it's in is right above my power off button. So as you can tell, well, not as you can tell, as you can guess, my phone keeps wanting to power off. Right, so the easiest solution is to lower the tripod. Right, so you can still see just about. Some nail varnish, obviously give it a good shake. Make sure you've got a nail varnish that is still quite liquidy, watery. If not, many junk journalers have acetone because of Fabri-Tac. Then, you know, stick a bit in. And then you just literally paint it. But I kind of like try and really push it in, dab it in. Because you need to get in that indentation in the grooves for it to stay. But this is as easy as it is to, it's very easy to ink. You won't always get the ink to stay as well. Some stamps just don't leave a very deep impression, so sometimes the ink, or nail varnish, but ink as we call it, just won't stay in properly. You'll get a partial imprint. It's just the way that it happens. People stamp differently. Some stamps leave a bigger impression than others. It all depends on how hard you hit it. Okay, now there you go. Now the best thing, obviously, it's nail varnish to do is wait until it's dry. So we'll put that to one side, and in true Blue Peter fashion, here's what I prepared earlier. And the camera's not going to focus on this properly, because the one thing this camera, or any camera, hates more than anything is metal. There you go, you can see. That was done in the exact same way, but then left for about 3 hours. The longer you leave it, the better. Sometimes I ink them like this and then I'll leave them all overnight. Now what we do is move that away for a second. You need to wipe off the excess, because obviously you don't want to send it to somebody looking like that. I'm going to use one of these little ones for this. Now, any nail varnish remover will do. That says, this actually says acetone free, but it's not. This is 100% acetone in here because I use it as a journaler, and Fabri-Tac, I use it. So, you know, I have 100% pure acetone. All I did was I just refilled this bottle, this nail varnish pump dispenser with it, because I find it easier than having to tip the bottle up. You know, I got it from my local Bodyworks, I think it were called, shop. Okay, so I'm just going to fold this cosmetics pad in half. Couple of pumps on there. Get it around my finger and then swipe down. Down, down, apply pressure. Flip it over, swipe down. You don't rub like I do, but I recommend you don't. You can do later, but yeah. But there you go, guys. That is it. That is as simple as it can be to ink. You stamp, fill it full of nail varnish, and then wipe off. And see what I mean about not getting a full inky impression in there? You can go over it and leave it again, but you know, sometimes it's just not worth it. Now, can you see the difference between... That is actually dry, so I'll just flip it over a second. Now, can you see the difference between these two blanks? Besides the shape, obviously, and the fact that I've stamped on one, can you see an obvious difference? In that this is extremely shiny, so much so, look, you can see my finger in it. This one is dull. You can just about see my finger in it, but you know, shadow there. This one, there you go, finger. This one, shadow, nothing. That's because this one has not been tumbled. Now, it's a bit of a minefield is this next bit, because I would highly, highly, highly recommend you invest in a tumbler. But they are not cheap. There are cheap alternatives, but they are not cheap to have. And you don't actually need one. They are just a convenience. There you go. See, how long did we leave that? Not an hour. How long did we leave that? And there you go. That will be like that because that's my stamping. I've slightly misstamped there. A bit of nail varnish. Don't know. Also, this can be very handy for, this is where cotton buds come in handy, excuse me, as well. So like, can you see this little bit under here? You can use, you dip your cotton bud in your acetone. Oh, there we go. Sometimes you can get some in that lid. And then you can just use your cotton bud to get in there. I don't think it's wet enough. There you go, getting it now. There. It's really handy when you've got a font like this where letters are close together. Like that C. The way it's inked, it looks like an O. So you can really get in there with the cotton bud. Sorry guys, I'm off camera. That is how I've stamped. This is another thing, and all. If you make the slightest mistake with a stamp, when you ink it, it will tell you. It'll show you the mistakes you've made. It'll pick it up. It's ruthless, is this craft. There you go. Now, it's made it a little bit brighter, but anyway, back to what I was saying. Now this, I've got nail varnish remover all over me now. I just splashed it in my eye as well. Clever. Not. Right. Now this, let me just back you out and pop you further back up. Now, like I said, this is where, after doing many of these, I would throw them in the tumbler to clean them. By doing so, it's like a little mini washing machine, but from metal. And by doing that, it, like a washing machine, it tumbles them all around against other bits of metal, a bit like sea. You know, the sea splashing other rocks against other rocks. It smooths them like sea glass. It's a perfect example. It smooths them out and shines them up, and that's what a tumbler does with metal. But you don't need one. You can achieve the same look with this, which is Autosol, which is metal polishing stuff, paste, cream. I love the smell of it. I don't know why, but I do. You can also achieve the exact same thing with a 4-sided nail buffer. I have a million of them somewhere. Can I find them? Can I? Yeah, not. But an emery board will do. So if you have any sharp edges on these, which sometimes you will, you can use an emery board to file. I'm not going to do that because that noise just grates right through me. Now you need a microfiber cloth of some kind and some Autosol. And then you only need the tiniest little blob. And then, and this is a messy job, guys, very messy job. And then you just scrub, scrub, scrub like crazy. You're going to get filthy doing this, and I love it. I know, some of you guys must think I am absolutely weird. And yes, don't worry, it will go dark. It will look even dirtier when you're doing it. That's normal. But yeah, I've had people go like, you are literally a freak. What are you doing? Why do you find this so amusing and so entertaining? Look, see how dirty that is now. It's absolutely disgusting. It probably won't show on camera. Look how dirty I am. It probably won't show properly on camera, but yeah, but I have had friends and family going like, you are a freak, Vic, you really are. It's not normal to really love doing stuff like this. I'm like, I know. When I was younger, my dad owned a scrapyard. He was a scrap metal merchant man. So where do you think I get my love of scrap metal working from? Like, you know, just metal working in general. And, you know, when I was little, I used to have my own little 18 truck. It had a lift up, you know, the bit that you sit on, it had lifted up, so it had a little compartment underneath. And I used to zoom around his scrapyard, picking up bits of metal washers and screws and all sorts of stuff. And then I used to take them next door to Uncle Raymond and whoever else were there and sell them to them. I got some screws, you want to buy them? You need these. But yeah, so, and Uncle Fred. Like, but you really need this. And of course they always took me on. Yes, okay, sweetheart, we'll buy you some. We'll give you some enough pennies to go to the ice cream man. Okay. But yes, so like I said, I absolutely love it. I am absolutely filthy and I am in my element. And I love that smell. It smells like oil. But, can you see? It is disgustingly filthy. Even more than it was before. However, what we do now is go and wash your hands for a start. Okay, relatively clean, but yeah, so wash your hands for a start. Still dirty. Get another microfiber cloth, but a clean one, cleanish. Find a nice clean spot, and then let me see, I will pull you down a bit and see if I can get this in properly. And without me leaning up, it's hard work for me to keep reaching upwards. Sorry for making you dizzy, guys. Okay, now kind of watch the magic happen. You can already kind of see it happening. So, find a clean bit of your cloth and look at the difference. Can you see? You'll get dirty doing this as well because there will be excess on it. But look. Look at the difference, guys. Blatantly obvious. You can also, with a clean microfiber cloth, get it between the cloth and do it like that. This is actually sometimes a lot easier. But be careful because you can end up with friction burn. Now, look at that. Look at the polish on that. It's like a mirror. Can you see? I haven't done the back, so look at the back. Now look at the front. So, you don't need a tumbler if you don't mind putting the hard work in by hand, because believe me guys, like you've just seen, it is quite labour intensive. If you want to knock out 20 or 30 of these in one go, then I would suggest you invest in a tumbler, because you throw them all in, turn it on and walk away for 20 minutes, half an hour, and come back, and then when you come back they'll all come out bright, sparkling, shiny, clean like this. Look at this, guys. You can see the camera and everything in the reflection of that. Like I said, hello, there's my finger. This side, nothing, because we haven't done that side. Now, journalers won't bother about that, because a lot of the time we want oldie, you know, vintagey, oldie, rusty, used stuff. So you don't need to do all this if you're wanting something to put into your journals, vintage style or whatever. You know, you don't need to do any of that. I love it when it does that. Yeah, like I said, there's the camera set up here. You don't need to do any of that section. But if you're wanting to do this as a keyring or something for your friends and family, then yeah. And there you go. Can you see the little imprints on the back? Like I said, we will talk about that further. We'll talk about that more later. That's called metal displacement. You'll get that in everything you stamp. But yes, so there you go. And then, I think we've covered everything apart from one last thing. And again, there is a bit of a, well, I say a cheat, a way out and a solution to that as well. And it is this. The next thing I would advise, like I said, I'm not particularly trying to encourage you because I know it's expensive, but these are the things that I would, if I was to start out from scratch, these are the things I would buy. Oh, there you go. We're going to compare. Right. So, that was the one done in the tumbler. That's the one that we've just done by hand. You know? This one's actually turned out shinier than that one, but that one is old. Over time they will wear down. Over time they will dull down. But if you have a microfiber cloth at home, then just get it in between it, give it a really good scrub, and just like that it comes up new again. Sometimes they won't. If you've had them a long time on a keyring or whatever, they will really dull down. So You know, if you have Autosol at home or whatever, it's awesome. Any metal polish, cleaning stuff or anything like that, get it on a microfiber cloth, get it in between and give it a rub and it'll come up sparkling every time. With a bit of elbow grease. Now, like I said, the next two things are these that I would recommend. This is a centre punch. And I need this here, I'll show you why I recommend these. This is why. Okay. Now this, to be honest, doesn't need it because you can put it through there. But hole, no hole. There's already what I bet I've stamped. There'll be a hole in every one of these because I've... Yep, there is. Oh no, there isn't. That one. No hole in this. I haven't put one in yet. No holes in that. There are holes in that. You can buy blanks, blank, with and without holes in them. Without holes in them is a lot cheaper than buying them with holes in them because obviously the suppliers have to put them holes in them. A lot of them are machine done, so it doesn't matter. But some suppliers will charge extra because they are going to put holes in your stuff for you the same way we're going to do it now. And that is by using a centre punch. And what you do with this is it's kind of spring loaded. You put it on and you push down and it pops a dent in it. So I'll pull you down and I'll show you. And it just leaves a marker. So I want this hole somewhere around the middle. And this is a really good thing and all about buying shiny blanks. And you can buy shanks, you can buy blanks that are already tumbled or polished. You'll hear a lot of the phrase tumbled amongst the community. Once you've cleaned them, you almost get a mirror image on, a mirror finish on them. So you can see exactly on this blank where you want to stamp or where you want to punch. And you see there, you can see that on the unfinished one, you can see just a bit of a shadow. On there, you can see exactly where that's going to go. So we are going to line this up somewhere around the middle, and then with this you just push down. Did you hear that click? That then gives you not a hole but an indentation there, and then that's where this comes in, and this is called a mighty punch. And it is awesome. It is a stamper's best buddy. It comes with loads of different sizes for punching and stuff. But I have it on this one. I'm not even sure. Oh, it's the 2mm, which is 332. 32. 32, have you heard? Whatever. And it is perfect size for this. It's a bit like your crocodile. You know, you've got your punchy bit there, and you've got your thingy bit there. Yeah, love my phrase, terminology. And then you use that to put in there. You see, that hole, that groove can get you in there so that you know it's lined up. Sandwich and then punch like so. And then you get that. You also sometimes get that, so that is where your rubber mallet comes in handy. There is a way of doing that without getting that and I will show you later in another video. But there you go, there's your haul that you've made yourself. I freaking love that bunch. So there, that just about, in probably a very confusing, boring and rambly way, covers the basic supplies of what you need if you want to hand stamp. Oh, sorry, the tumbler. I'll get to that now. As opposed to that, as opposed to all this hand cleaning, you can get a tumbler. That, the pink thing there, that is Trudy. We name all our tools and she's called Trudy, and it is a Trends Kids Rock Tumbler. We will get into this more later because you can get some barreling fluid and you need some what they call shot, which are little round ball bearings. We will cover that in a completely separate video. Although, if you watch my other stamping videos, I've probably covered it already. I did in the trainer tags video. Didn't speak in that video, but I did cover using that. I showed how to use it. But we will go into that in another video, in quite a few other videos. But for now, this video, when I've spliced it all together, is probably about 2 hours long. So, thank you very much if you've stayed that long. Tracie, I really hope I'm not baffling you too much, but I don't know how best to explain any of this. Because like I said, there are plenty of other videos and people out there to watch. Please do go and watch them. This is just my take on it, and like I said, I am by no means least a professional, so you're getting my version. You know how we normally get the Gayle version on stuff, well now you're getting the Minxy version on stuff. So yeah, not entirely sure what we'll do in the next video or when that video will be, but I will work on it, and then yeah, I will think about what to do next, and we'll see where we can go from there. These videos are going to be quite random because it takes me quite a lot of thinking. So, but they are coming. They will be coming, guys, and they're in their own playlist. So I'll link the playlist will actually come up here in this little bottom left-hand corner at the end of the video. But I'll link the playlist below as well anyway. So yes, guys, if you want to check out the other videos or follow along with this series, then that's what you need to do. Oh my gosh. Right, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you again very soon. Goodbye.